friends and visitors to this land of Dhamma. Certainly you are all curious to know as to what is being taught in this meditation center. Not only in this meditation center, but in all the Vipassana meditation centers in the country and abroad, no religious dogma is being taught. Only a way of life is taught. How to live peacefully, how to live harmoniously within, and how to generate nothing but peace and harmony for others. An art of living, which has nothing to do with any organized religion, nothing to do with any blind belief or dogma, rites or rituals. A way of life, a good way of life. Therefore, people who join the course of 10 days of Vipassana, they have to take a vow that they will observe 5 precepts, and the precepts are that I will abstain from killing, I will abstain from stealing, I will abstain from sexual misconduct, I will abstain from speaking lies, I will abstain from taking any kind of intoxicants. A moral way of life, good for everyone, accepted by every religion, preached by every religion, and yet very difficult to observe. And the main reason why it is difficult to observe is that one has no control over one's mind. A drunkard knows very well that I should not drink. A gambler knows very well that I should not gamble. Similarly, anyone indulged in any kind of misconduct knows very well, this is not good for me, I should not do it. And yet, one cannot abstain from doing that because one has no control over the mind. Therefore, after taking these 5 precepts, the first thing that is taught is how to develop mastery over one's own mind. To develop mastery over the mind, one has to train the mind to get concentrated on one object or the other. And the object that is given here is universal, because the whole path is universal. It is not sectarian. It has nothing to do with any organized religion. Therefore, the object of concentration of the mind is also universal. It is not sectarian. The student is asked to develop the concentration of the mind by observing one's own respiration. Pure respiration, bare respiration, natural respiration, as it comes in, as it goes out. Just keep on observing it. Do nothing. Never try to regulate the breath. Let the nature play its own role. If the breath is deep, you are just aware it is deep. If it is shallow, you are just aware it is shallow. If it is passing through left nostril, you are aware it is passing through the left nostril. If it is passing through the right nostril, you are just aware it is passing through the right nostril. That's all. Just remain aware. Awareness. Awareness of your own respiration as it comes in, as it goes out naturally. Now the object is such which is acceptable to one and all. A Hindu can practice with this object, a Muslim can practice with this object, a Buddhist, a Jain, a Christian, a Jew, makes no difference, anyone. Because the breath is universal. We don't ask people to use certain words, a name of this god or that goddess. We don't want people to imagine the shape or the form of this god or that goddess, then it will become sectarian. But just observing the breath as it is, as it comes in, as it goes out, it makes the object universal. One trains the mind to get concentrated. That means one develops the mastery over one's own mind. But this alone is not sufficient. One may be master of one's own mind and yet may be involved in unwholesome actions, physical as well as oral, and may harm others. The next step, and very important step, is to get the mind purified. If the mind is purified and one has control over the purified mind, then there is no danger of misusing it. A purified mind cannot harm anybody. And the next step to purify the mind is again non-sectarian, it is universal. One is asked to observe one's own mind. One is asked to observe the biochemical reactions in the body because of the mind and mental contents. Say, for example, an impurity arises in the mind, and anger as a reason, or hatred as a reason, or ill will, animosity. What starts happening in the body? There is some unpleasant sensation on the body. One is asked to observe that sensation. There might be heat in the whole body. The palpitation might increase. Tension might get built up. Do nothing, just observe it. Just accept the fact that there is anger which has arisen in my mind at this moment, and look, there is heat in my body, or the palpitation has increased, or there is tension, whatever it is. Just observe that and accept the fact that my mind is at present full of this particular negativity. And you will find that you are coming out of it. You have not suppressed it. You have not given it a free license, and then something wrong at the vocal and physical level. You have just observed it. Observing, 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 layers after layers of this impurity get peeled off, and one comes out of it. Not only that, if one continues to practice like this, one comes out of a particular habit pattern of which one has become a slave. Everyone has become a slave of one's own habit pattern, behavior pattern. Whenever one experiences something pleasant, the behavior pattern has become to react with craving, with clinging. Similarly, whenever one faces something unpleasant, the behavior pattern has become to react with anger, with aversion, with hatred. And in both the cases, one becomes very agitated, very irritated. By this practice, one slowly breaks this behavior pattern and starts coming out of it. Whenever one generates negativity, one becomes very agitated, very miserable. One may call oneself a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jain or a Christian or a Jewish. It makes no difference. A human being is a human being. As soon as you generate any negativity in the mind, you are bound to become miserable. And when you become miserable with the negativity, you never keep this misery limited to yourself. You start throwing this misery all around you. You start distributing this misery to others. You make everyone else miserable. You make the entire atmosphere around you so tense. Anyone who comes in contact with you at that time becomes miserable, unhappy. Certainly, this is not a way of life. This is not a good way of life. This technique teaches you how to live a good way of life, how to live peacefully, how to live harmoniously, how to generate nothing but peace and harmony within oneself, for oneself, and how to generate nothing but peace and harmony for others, so that people who come in contact, they also feel very peaceful, very harmonious. The 5 precepts that one takes in the beginning, one understands at the intellectual level that they are so good. Human being is a social being, one has to live in the society. One should not do anything at the physical or vocal level which will disturb the peace and harmony of others, which will harm and hurt others. Therefore, these precepts are very essential. But as one proceeds on this path, it becomes so clear that the sages and saints of the past advised us to live the life of morality, because it is not only for the good of others, but also for our own good. The meditator starts realizing that whenever I perform any unwholesome action at the vocal level or at the physical level, I can't perform it unless I generate some negativity or the other, some impurity or the other in my own mind. If I have to kill somebody, I must generate tremendous amount of anger, hatred, ill will, and then only I can kill somebody. Similarly, for every vice, every unwholesome action of the body or the speech, one has to generate some defilement, some impurity in the mind. And it becomes so clear to a meditator of Vipassana, because Vipassana is nothing but to observe the reality, the truth within oneself from moment to moment. Observing this truth from moment to moment, one starts realizing that whenever I have generated any negativity in my mind, I have become very miserable, very miserable. So whenever I try to harm others, at the physical level or vocal level, I can't harm anybody unless I have first harmed myself. Because I have to generate negativity in my mind to harm others, and when I start negativity in my mind, I become miserable. So I have been generating misery for myself. Now it becomes so clear that when I observe these 5 precepts, I am not obliging anybody. I am obliging myself. I am doing all this for my own good. Real self-interest will become so clear. In my own good, I should not perform any action at the physical level or vocal level which will disturb others. Because as soon as I get involved in anything like this, I start harming myself by generating a negativity and becoming miserable. As one develops in this technique, it becomes so easy to live the life, a good life, a life of morality, because one starts understanding at the actual level, at the experiential level, that living good life is not only for the good of others, but for my good also. More for my good. It will become so clear. The entire path, the 5 precepts, controlling the mind with the aid of the breath, natural breath, purifying the mind by observing the body sensations, by observing the mental contents, is universal. Anybody can do this. That is the reason why not only in this center, but in all the centers around the world, people from different communities, different countries, belonging to different religious groups, they come, meditate, and get the same advantage. No conversion is involved. One does not come here to get converted from one organized religion to another organized religion. This technique has nothing to do to convert people in a particular organized religion, because this technique is not bound by any particular organized religion. It is universal. Although taught by Gautama the Buddha, but his teaching was universal. He was not interested in converting people in any particular sect. He was not interested to establish a sect. Suffering humanity, if they get this wonderful technique, they will come out of their misery. And in the same tradition, people are given this technique so that they come out of their misery. A Hindu may continue to call himself a Hindu for the whole life, a Muslim, a Christian, a Christian, a Jain, a Buddhist, makes no difference. One becomes a good human being. And the technique, the Dhamma, the universal Dhamma, is to make you a good human being. If one is not a good human being, how can one be a good Hindu, or a good Muslim, or a good Christian, or a good Buddhist, or a good Jain? Good human being. Therefore, no conversion as such is involved. Although conversion is involved, the conversion is that you will get converted from misery to happiness. You will get converted from bondage to liberation. You will get converted from ignorance to enlightenment. Take advantage of this technique. May all of you find time to give a trial to this technique for your own good and for the good of many, for the benefit of many. May you all take advantage of this technique and come out of your misery to enjoy real peace, real harmony, real happiness. May all of you enjoy real peace, real harmony, real happiness, real happiness.
Childhood is a time of discovery. Every moment can bring a new experience. Every day can be an exploration into the unknown, full of promise and of danger. It is a time to start learning about life and how to live it. But for children today, learning about life is harder than ever before. The world is changing so rapidly. All too easily they may feel baffled or confused. All too often they may lose their sense of direction. There is a compass children can learn to use, and with it they can find their way through life. That compass is called Vipassana meditation. Vipassana means seeing things as they really are, in their true nature. It is an ancient meditation technique discovered 25 centuries ago in India by a man known as the Buddha. In modern times, Vipassana has been taught by the late Sayagyi U Ba Khin of Burma and his pupil S.N. Goenka of India. Under Mr. Goenka's guidance, over 40 centers around the world now offer 10-day Vipassana courses for adults. Short courses designed especially for children are given in many of these centers in Western and Asian countries. Children come to learn meditation with many of the same aims and hopes as adults. Some hope to become nicer to be around. Others wish to be able to deal with stressful situations or to become more self-confident. Children arrive at the center on the afternoon of the day the course starts. They settle into their rooms, have their evening meal, and then attend an orientation meeting.
Dans un centre de méditation, il y a des règles de vie à observer pour deux raisons. Pour nous aider à méditer.
In this meeting they are told about the layout of the center, the schedule, and the basic rules they will have to follow during the next 3 days.
Une autre règle de vie, alors très importante aussi, pour ne pas troubler l'atmosphère du centre.
Soon after the meeting, the children enter the meditation hall, where they meet the teachers and receive beginning instructions. First, they promise to follow a code of moral conduct during their time at the center. That is, to avoid any words or actions that could harm others and make their own minds agitated. This is a key part of the technique. It helps the children become calm and quiet enough to be able to look within. Next, they start meditating by learning the technique of Anapana, awareness of breathing. The children are asked to close their eyes and try to remain aware of the natural breath entering and leaving the nostrils. This is a simple way to focus and calm the mind. But simple as it is, it can be surprisingly hard. The mind keeps slipping away to memories, fantasies, fears, hopes, or sometimes to sleep. The task is to keep bringing the mind back to the chosen object until gradually it starts to stay, to become concentrated. Naturally, that does not happen all at once. It takes time and repeated effort. Next morning, they wake up to a full and busy schedule of activities. They meditate for periods of half an hour at a time. Afterwards, they divide into groups and discuss their experiences with a counselor on hand to answer questions, clear up confusions, and give guidance.
Ouais, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, respiration profonde et superficielle?
Who thought about what they were going to have for breakfast? Who thought it would be very nice still to be back in bed? So the mind has all these tricks. It's like a naughty little monkey, and it's our job when we're meditating to calm this monkey down.
Always keep your eyes closed. If you open your eyes, the mind will immediately get distracted. Be aware of every breath that's going in and every breath that's coming out. The mind will keep on wandering away. When it wanders away, just bring it back to the breath. Try not to miss even one breath. It could be fast or slow, deep or shallow, hard or soft, whatever it is, just observe. That's the job you have to do.
There is a sense of wholeness, mastery and peace that comes from keeping the mind on the breath. The children begin to experience that. The timetable includes breaks and rest periods. On the schedule are also games, physical exercise, creative activities and storytelling.
And he said, he's very friendly and he's very lonely. And the rat said, we know lots of people he can talk to. So they said, come on, follow us.
Courses in India also include cartoons on themes related to the meditation. As the time goes by, the children fall into the rhythm of the course. They enjoy the activities, get to know each other, and start to appreciate the meditation sessions. They also begin to understand the purpose of what they are doing. The mind, they are told, is a jumble of positive and negative qualities, and they can see it for themselves in the play of thoughts that tug at them as they meditate. When they successfully keep attention on the breath, on the reality of the present moment, negative thoughts fade away and positivity remains. The awareness of breath becomes their best friend, always on hand to help them in difficulties. The technique is not being taught only in Vipassana centers. In this school, the children practice 10 minutes of Anapana meditation before their first class every day.
I can concentrate better now. The phone used to ring when I'm studying. I used to go and pick it up. But now I've learned how to concentrate and I say, no, my mother's got to do this. I have to study.
Concentrating on your breath takes not much of effort because we're concentrating on something we already have and something which is very easy to concentrate on. Of course, at first you do feel restless, but later on it becomes quite effortless.
It happened once that I fought with one of my best friends and I was going to shout at her, but I said, no, I can't do this. So I just concentrated on my breath for about a minute or so and then it just came back to normal. I didn't shout.
For me to sit down and take time out of studying and maybe that 10 minutes extra that I get to relax and to meditate is an effort. And also it's not very easy to concentrate because my mind keeps running away. So I said, okay, let me try it out. If it's supposed to help, let me just try it out. And I sat down and I did it for some time. And while I did it, I couldn't think of anything. My mind was blank. For those 10 minutes, I was calm, I was relaxed. So it helped me to feel good about myself.
So much that is offered to young people today is based on materialism and instant gratification of desires. Through meditation, children learn a different approach, a method of looking inside, of getting in touch with their real needs, of facing and resolving their fears and anxieties. Now they have the compass of meditation in their hands. By observing breath and continuing with the next steps of Vipassana, they find a path that leads to their own happiness and the happiness of others.
Since the dawn of humanity, monuments have been erected all over the world, embodying the essence of civilizations, like pages in history. devotion and gratitude inspired people to construct these monuments and to commemorate great events for generations to come. "26 centuries ago, an extraordinary event took place in India. Prince Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha, the Enlightened One. He started traveling through the towns and villages of northern India, teaching the way to liberation from suffering, setting in motion the wheel of Dhamma. His message of peace and harmony spread far and wide, bringing happiness wherever it went. In the years after the Buddha had passed away, life in India was permeated by the Dhamma. Out of devotion, people built vast monasteries and monuments to honor the Enlightened One. The one who exceeded all was the great Emperor Ashoka. He took on the duty to spread the Dhamma, erecting 84,000 monuments to commemorate the Buddha's teachings all over India. But his greatest contribution was to help spread the noble teachings beyond India. For that, he sent ambassadors of Dhamma to nearby countries. There, it took root and flourished.
Wherever people benefited from the Dhamma, they built structures on the model of those in India, expressing their gratitude and devotion. The stupas were mostly based on the shape of the ancient Sanchi stupa, constructed by Emperor Ashoka, but different cultures added decorations on top of that base. A few others were modelled on the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha had attained enlightenment.
But while the light of Dhamma began to shine brightly in many countries, it slowly faded in India. The teaching became polluted, corrupted, and forgotten until it disappeared from the land of its origin. Here, the wheel of Dhamma had been set in motion, only to grind to a halt. Today in India, the Buddha is still held in respect, but most Indians believe him to be just another figure in the Hindu pantheon. People have a clouded view of this greatest son of India, and they are unaware of the universal Dhamma he discovered and taught to others. The neighboring countries, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Cambodia and Laos, preserved the Buddhist scriptures in the Pali Tipitaka, enabling the entire world from ancient times until today to learn about the words of the Buddha. But in Myanmar, not only the words were preserved, but the practical essence of Buddha's teaching. A chain of teachers kept alive the practice of Vipassana meditation in its pure form. Among the shining examples are Venerable Webu Sayadaw, and before him, Venerable Ledi Sayadaw, who opened the gate for all householders to come and practice Dhamma and Vipassana. He appointed his brilliant lay disciple, Sayataji, to be a teacher. One of Sayataji's foremost students was Sayaji Yuba Kin, who paved the way for Dhamma to start spreading all over the world, far beyond the borders of Myanmar. A traditional belief was handed down in the countries of Southeast Asia that 25 centuries after the Buddha, the Dhamma would be returned to India, the land of its origin, to spread from there around the world. The great Vipassana meditation master, Sayagyi U Ba Khin, had a deep volition to help this prediction come true. He strongly felt the debt of gratitude Myanmar owed India for the jewel of Dhamma. Sayagyi authorized his Dhamma son, S.N. Goenka, as a Vipassana teacher, to carry the message of Dhamma back to India. Inspired by Sayagyi's vision, S.N. Goenka devoted his life to fulfill this noble mission and started teaching Vipassana meditation in India and many other countries. Today, this Dharma mission has entered a new phase. An extraordinary monument, the global pagoda, is being constructed in India, the land of the Enlightened One. This magnificent structure will be a beacon of Dharma, a lighthouse, dispelling the darkness of ignorance around the world. The global pagoda is a symbol of gratitude to the country of Myanmar and will stand as a reminder for centuries to come that when the teaching was lost to India, Myanmar preserved it. The ancient stupas in Myanmar were built in the shape of Sanchi stupa, in homage to India. Today, in India, the global pagoda is being built in the shape of the famous Shwedagon pagoda, in homage to Myanmar. The great global pagoda will be an expression of gratitude to the Buddha, to the wonderful Dhamma he introduced to humanity, and to the chain of teachers who preserved the Dhamma in its pristine purity. It will also be an expression of gratitude to Sayagyi U Ba Khin, whose strong Dhamma volition caused the teaching to be sent back to India, and from there starts spreading around the world. The site, chosen for the global pagoda, is a suburb of Mumbai, the most populous city and the commercial and tourist capital of this country of 1 billion people. Hundreds of thousands of Indians and foreign visitors will visit the pagoda. The huge monument will be surrounded by a wide, encircling path with the capacity for 10,000 visitors. On the northern and southern sides, 2 additional smaller pagodas are being constructed. In June 2003, the inauguration of the small northern pagoda dome took place in the presence of S.N. Goenka. The 4-ton keystone was carefully placed to lock the inner dome of the structure. Soon after, the first Dharma discourse was given by S.N. Goenka under the completed dome.
कि बर्मा भी मेरी जन्मभूमि और भारत भी मेरी जन्मभूमि. कोई प्रश्न करे ये दोनों बात कैसे हुई? मेरे केस में हुई.
Being of a design identical to the main pagoda, the small northern pagoda's dome can now give an inspiring indication of the extraordinary look the main pagoda will have once completed. The global pagoda is one of the most ambitious structures ever to be built. It is the world's largest dome to be constructed of stone. Unsupported by any pillar, the 97-meter diameter dome is an engineering marvel. The heavy stones are skillfully placed, interlocking into one another, to form a gigantic hollow dome structure. Tens of thousands of stones are being used to create this immense monument. Thousands of trucks have brought these stones from the quarries, miles away. The heavy stones are carefully cut to size and are adjusted by hand to fit the elaborate design. The demanding construction work is done by hundreds of skillful workers. This unique project is more than a monument to the memory of past greatness. The imposing gilded exterior will definitely attract attention, but the interior is purely functional. In the center of the pagoda will be a large meditation hall where thousands of people can practice the Buddha's teaching of Vipassana meditation together. One of Sayagyi U-Ba-Khin's major innovations was to make a pagoda a functional part of the meditation center. At the heart of U-Ba-Khin's meditation center in Yangon is a hollow pagoda lined with cells. This demonstrates his belief that practicing Dhamma through Vipassana meditation is the best way to honor the Buddha and experience his teaching. In the Vipassana meditation centers in India and other countries, where Vipassana is being taught by S.N. Goenka in the tradition of U-Ba-Khin, similar pagodas are used for meditation. All who come to these modern-day Chaitya halls have the opportunity to practice the Dhamma in its original form and to advance towards liberation. The Global Pagoda will also serve as a Dhamma museum and a center for learning, with facilities including libraries, multimedia presentations, and a gallery. The gallery will house state-of-the-art educational displays about the Buddha's life story and his teachings. Genuine relics of Gautama the Buddha were donated for the Global Pagoda by the Mahabodhi Society of India. The authentic relics will be enshrined in the pagoda, preserved for generations to come. Followers of the Buddha all over the world naturally feel respect and gratitude to India as the land of the Buddha and first source of the Dhamma. The Global Pagoda, which is funded solely by voluntary donations, presents a rare opportunity to earn merits by supporting a noble project that is bound to become a symbol of the second Buddha Sasana. While the world today is afflicted with the maladies of hatred, anxiety, and fear, this living representation of the Buddha's heritage will promote peace, harmony, and tolerance for all humanity.
25 centuries ago, in India, a human being of incomparable purity dedicated his life to help his fellow human beings emerge from the darkness of suffering. His name was Gautama, the Buddha. The Vipassana International Academy, near Bombay, India, is the main center for the practice and study of meditation in the tradition of Sayagyi U-Ba Khin, as taught by S.N. Goenka. The academy, which covers an area of 60 acres, is called Dhammagiri, Hill of Dhamma. Vipassana meditation is the essence of what the Buddha practiced and taught. It is a simple, practical way to achieve real peace of mind and to lead a happy, useful life. Vipassana means to see things as they really are. It is a logical process of mental purification through self-observation. Vipassana does not encourage people to withdraw from society. Rather, it strengthens them to face all the ups and downs of life in a calm and balanced way. Established in 1976, Dhammagiri's activities have grown many-fold in the past 20 years, and the campus has blossomed. Apart from the ongoing 10-day retreats, longer courses are periodically offered for more advanced students. The meditation complex has been constructed on the highest part of the site, the Shantipata, or Plateau of Peace. A newly enlarged pagoda, the teacher's residence, and 4 meditation halls are located here. The pagoda is a hollow structure with 400 cells inside for individual meditation. Externally, the pagoda has been deliberately remodeled and elaborately decorated in the Shwedagon style. The campus has comfortable accommodation for at least 500 students in areas segregated for men and women, which include separate dining halls and places for exercise. Continuous gardening, landscaping, and tree planting have transformed the site, helping to provide a harmonious atmosphere which is deeply beneficial to the meditators. Alongside the meditation center is the Vipassana Research Institute, which conducts research into the theory and practice of Vipassana meditation.
This one gets mixed up in all those ones.
God. But application is to the minds. Along with this continued application.
Currently, the Institute is working on a massive project, transcribing the entire text of the Pali Tipitaka, including commentaries and sub-commentaries, into Devanagari, with the help of scholars from Myanmar and India. The spiritual director of Dhammagiri is S.N. Goenka, a former businessman whose family had settled in Myanmar some generations before. Mr. Goenka learned Vipassana from Sayagyi U-Ba Khin, the respected lay meditation teacher and high government official, who was a disciple of Sayataji and Venerable Ledi Sayadaw. In 1969, after 14 years studying meditation and assisting U Ba Khin, Mr. Goenka travelled to India as his teacher's representative and began to give courses in Vipassana. The theory and the practice of pure Dhamma, lost to India over the centuries but carefully preserved in Myanmar, had returned to the land of the Buddha.
The more and more you keep on realizing the reality about yourself by the practice of Vipassana, it will become clearer and clearer. Certain realities will become very clear.
To learn Vipassana, it is necessary to take a 10-day residential course under the guidance of a qualified teacher. During the retreat, students remain within the course site, having no contact with the outside world. Reading, writing, and all religious practices are suspended. Students follow a demanding daily schedule, which includes about 10 hours of sitting meditation. They also observe silence, not communicating with fellow students. However, they are free to discuss meditation questions with the teacher and material problems with the management. The day begins at 4:30 in the morning. Many students meditate in the hall, where a chanting tape is played. Breakfast is served at 6:30, followed by group meditation in the hall and instructions from the teacher. Individual meditation then continues, and the teacher checks students on their progress. To learn Vipassana, there are 3 steps to the training. First, students practice sila, abstaining from actions which cause harm. They undertake 5 moral precepts, practicing abstention from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and the use of intoxicants. The observation of these precepts allows the mind to calm down sufficiently to proceed further. Second, for the first 3.5 days, students practice Anapana meditation, focusing attention on the breath. This practice, samadhi, helps to develop concentration and control over the unruly mind. These first 2 steps of living a wholesome life and developing control over the mind are necessary and very beneficial. But they are incomplete unless the 3rd step is taken, purifying the mind of underlying negativities. The 3rd step, undertaken for the last 6.5 days, is the practice of Vipassana. One penetrates one's entire physical and mental structure with the clarity of insight. Old students, meaning meditators who have completed more than one Vipassana course in this tradition, are allocated individual cells in the pagoda. This enables them to work more independently and seriously. Lunch is served at 11 o'clock. Simple, nutritious vegetarian food is provided at the center to suit both Asian and Western tastes. A 2-hour break in the middle of the day gives meditators an opportunity to rest, do their washing, or take some exercise outside. The teacher is available for individual student interviews at this time. Meditation and checking continues in the afternoon. After the final session of group meditation, a taped evening discourse by S.N. Goenka clarifies each day's practice.
तो अपने यहाँ की बहुत पुरानी विद्या होते हुए भी आज तुमको बड़ी नई सी लगती है कि हम तो ऐसे ध्यान करना जानते हैं, हमने तो किताबों में पढ़ा ध्यान इस तरह का होता है.
The teacher is again available after the discourse to answer questions, and students retire to bed by 9:30. There is no charge whatsoever for the teaching. Costs are met by the donations of grateful students of past courses who have experienced the benefits of Vipassana and who wish to give others the same unique opportunity. The course finishes on the morning of the 11th day. The retreat closes with the practice of metta bhavana, loving kindness or goodwill to all, in which the purity developed during the course is shared with all beings.
Whenever I generate anger or hatred or ill will, I shout in anger, I make the entire atmosphere so tense. Anyone who comes in contact with me at that time becomes miserable. Then it becomes clearer and clearer. Whole life, this is what I have been doing. I have been making myself miserable. I have been making others miserable. I suffered myself. I made others suffer. This was not the right way of life. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know the art of living. Now with the practice of Vipassana, one starts learning the art of living. One progresses further on the path.
Today, courses in this tradition are held at over 30 centers in Asia, Australia, America, and Europe. Thousands of teenagers and school children in India are being introduced to Dhamma. Short courses designed especially for children are conducted in India and in centers around the world. Developing concentration with awareness increases the child's capacity of understanding, memory, and expression. Negativities gradually start giving way to more peaceful and respectful behavior at home and in society. Vipassana courses are being held in many prisons in India. The most important among them being a Vipassana center in Tihar Central Prison, New Delhi. 2 10-day courses are being held there every month. Thousands of inmates are receiving the path of liberation within the very walls of their prison. Although Vipassana has been preserved in the Buddhist tradition, it contains nothing of a sectarian nature and can be accepted and applied by people of any background. Courses are open to anyone sincerely wishing to learn the technique, irrespective of race, caste, faith, or nationality. Hindus, Jains, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhists, Christians, Jews, as well as members of other religions, have all successfully practiced Vipassana. Suffering arising from greed, hatred, and ignorance is a universal condition facing all humanity. The way beyond suffering is likewise universal. More and more people from every walk of life are experiencing the tangible benefits of Vipassana meditation.